Hearing none, we will move on to the minutes from last meeting, moved by Deputy Mayor Gierzak, seconded by Councillor Hutchin, that the Council of Municipality of Brockton adopt the minutes of the May 12th, 2020 Council meeting as presented. All those in favor? Okay, the motion is carried. Is there any business arising from the minutes that anybody would like to discuss? Anybody? Hearing none, we will move on to our staff reports. 7.1, moved by Councillor Lang, second by Councillor Lyso. The Council of Municipality of Brockton hereby receives report. The OK 2020-17 COVID-19 municipal response, May 26th update prepared by Sarah Johnson, Junior Deputy Clerk, and Fiona Hamilton, Clerk, for information purposes, and further confirms and ratifies all operational decisions, procedures, and cancellations put in place by staff and the Municipal Emergency Control Group in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Are there any questions about that report number 1? Councillor Adams.
Not really a question. I just wanted to commend being proactive in getting a recovery subcommittee going already and having some plans going. I know other communities are doing that as well, but it was nice to read that in the minutes that it's already happening. I think kudos for getting that going.
Thank you. Any further comments? Councillor Elphick.
My question is just as it relates to the Brockton Child Care Centre. So I've noticed that the preparations are underway for the expansion, which is great to see. I just noted in the report that there's ongoing discussions with the ministry, the county, and the school board and the health unit for a recovery plan. And I'm just wondering, given that site's going to be under construction, if there are conversations about an alternative site or alternative location to use during the construction, or how that's looking.
Okay, Ms. Watson.
Through you, Mayor Peabody. At this time, a lot is up in the air with the daycare on how, timing, and also looking for further direction on how many we can expect to be in the childcare at a time. We did have a meeting with the school board last week, and so they're very open to us, starting the daycare in advance of the school being closed, which was good news. So. And also, I think there's availability of room there if needed. So I think we can make it work. I don't think it'll be, it is unknown, but I definitely don't think it'll be going back to full capacity, and it'll be under strict protocols from the health unit. So we still are determining all of that.
Okay, thank you. Deputy Mayor Gierzak.
Thank you. I just wanted to commend staff for the tremendous work that they've been doing since this coronavirus emergency has come about, as a part of the Emergency Management Control Group, sort of every Monday morning to witness the reviews that staff go through. I think it's very difficult to understand the challenges of trying to deliver services, then plan for an emergency situation when you don't know what the parameters are going to be, moving through that while continuing to provide service, and then to plan a recovery when you still don't know what the emergency is going to look like in the future. So a tremendous amount of work that staff has been going through to continue to provide service and to be able to respond as nimbly as possible, because the parameters coming from the province and the federal government change almost daily. So I certainly have witnessed the great work that you've been doing, and just wanted to pass that along. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, very well said, Deputy Mayor. Thank you for that. The staff will appreciate that positive feedback. Okay, all those in favor of the report? Okay, the motion is carried. Parks and Recreational Departmental Activities, moved by Councillor Adams, seconded by Councillor Elphick. The Council of Municipality of Brockton hereby receives report number REC 2024 Parks and Recreation Department Activities, January to April 2020, prepared by Mark Coleman, Director of Community Services for information purposes. Any questions for Mr. Coleman? All those in favor of the report? Carried. Proposed virtual candidate day, moved by Deputy Mayor Gierzak, seconded by Councillor Hutchin, that the Council of the Municipality of Brockton hereby receives report number REC 2023 COVID-19 proposed virtual Canada Day celebrations prepared by Mark Coleman, Director of Community Services, and doing so endorses the Canada Day Committee and Recreation staff proceeding with preparations of a virtual Canada Day celebration in Brockton for 2020. Councillor Hutchins.
Thank you. I think it's a great idea, but I noticed that we have $600 set aside from our budget, and there's quite a bit in the reserve account. And I would like to suggest that we not use the 2020 budget and take all the monies required from the reserves this year.
Okay. Ms. Watson, is there any staff input on that? Is that money needed? Something or?
At this time, it's not needed for another project. I don't think, $600 from the municipal budget is unreasonable for a Canada Day celebration. If that's what council wishes, we can do that, use the reserve for it. But
Okay. Any thoughts on that proposal from anybody else? Councillor Lang?
I agree with what Sonia's saying, but if we have the reserve funds there and we don't have to dip into the budget end of it, I'd agree with Councillor Hutchin. I think it's a great idea to use what's in the reserve funds.
Okay. Councillor Elphick?
I just noticed that the budget amount and the Canada grant are the same. Is there any provisions that we have to match anything from the municipality from the grant? I just wanted to make sure that if we take those dollars away, that the grant would still continue.
have to refer to Mark on that item.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, and to members of council, no, that is when we submit those grant applications, we do identify the other financial amounts that may be part of the Canada Day celebrations, but it's not mandatory that we match that grant amount.
Okay, and in that case, if the reserve dollars exist, then certainly we should utilize those where possible.
Okay, that's 3 people. Councillor Lifestyle.
Thank you, Your Worship. My position has always been that with reserve funds, they're there for either an emergency or an unexpected expense. And I would hate to use them for just an ongoing expense that we're aware of ahead of time. My preference would be to take it out of the budget. It's not a large amount. And like I say, I don't think our reserve fund's not there as a slush fund. It's there, like I say, for emergencies or unexpected expenses that we hadn't budgeted for. And while COVID's an emergency, I don't think this qualifies as an emergency.
Okay. Any other thoughts on Councillor Adams?
I'm good either way. It's taxpayers' money. So whether it comes out of a reserve fund or it comes out of our budget, it's the same pair of pants. It's just a different pocket. So I'm okay either way. Either way.
Okay. All right. So do we need a motion for that, Councillor Hutchin, or an amendment? How do we proceed here? Councillor Lang, you had your hand up.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say, we talk about the money side of it. I just wanted to commend Mark and his staff for bringing this forward. And I know the challenges of making anything happen around Canada Day is putting this together anyways from a research end of it, I think is great. And I commend Mark and his staff for doing this. I know we're talking about the money side of it. However it's funded, whatever we decide on as council, I commend Mark and his staff and Sonia and everybody for doing something. I think the video idea is going to be neat for everybody. So I just want to say that.
Okay. Councillor Hutchin.
I just wanted to say, I realize it's not a lot of money, but we have the funds available, and I think we're looking for places to cut the budget. So let's take the 600.
Okay. All right. So Ms. Hamilton, do we need a motion for that? How do we work this?
I'll say, I think you could ask that the motion on the floor be amended to add and funded from the reserve fund.
Okay, and funded from the reserve fund.
Sorry, through you, Mayor Peabody, can I just, it's Trish.
Yes, 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 yes.
It's actually called the Canada Day Deferred Revenue Account.
All right. I got Canada Day deferred revenue account.
Yes.
Okay, so Councillors Hutchin and Councillor Lang have made a amendment to the motion that be funded from the Canada Day deferred revenue account. So we'll vote on that amendment first. All those in favor of taking the money, Canada Day deferred revenue account, all those in favor? Okay, all those opposed? Okay, one person opposed. Okay, so the amendment carries. So then we have the overall motion to receive the report. All those in favor? The report is amended. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Arena Ice Plant. Moved by Councillor Lang, seconded by Councillor Lifestyle, that the Council of Municipality of Brockton hereby receives report REC 2025 Arena Ice Plant condenser replacement prepared by Mark Coleman, Director of Community Services, and in doing so requests an exemption to the purchasing and procurement policy as per section 13.1 to accept the quote from Black & McDonald as a single source procurement for the purchase and installation of a new BCI 110 evaporative condenser in the amount of $67,800 plus HST. Any questions for Mr. Coleman? Councillor Adams.
I know that why the recommendation's coming forward. Obviously, the supplier has knowledge of our equipment and we've got continuity. And then COVID came along, which tripled the reason to go with the company that has knowledge. The question I have for Mark is though, do we have any idea, we're going sole source, so we don't really know if that price is competitive or not. Were there any reach outs to see if that price is competitive so we're getting good value for the taxpayer here? I do support it going forward. We need to do it. I just want to know that if we had a chance to take a look to see if this is good value for our taxpayers.
Okay, very good question, Mr. Coleman.
Yes, yes, through you, Mr. Mayor. My previous experience installing these units at other facilities, they often range in the $75,000 to $100,000 range installed. So from my experience, I believe that is a very good price that we received.
Okay. Further questions? Councillor Elphick.
Great report. Thank you to Mr. Coleman for putting it together. In the report, it says that the current unit life cycle is 20 years. The unit that will be purchasing, the new evaporator condenser, what life cycle does it have?
That would be about the equivalent, just knowing today's equipment tends to be made with lighter metals and materials. But there's also improvement in technology. So it kind of counterbalances. So I would expect approximately 20 years life cycle with appropriate maintenance schedule.
Okay. And the specs that is being purchased for the existing complex, and it would be able to be adapted if we needed a condenser somewhere else in the future?
The existing condenser is basically scrap. So the new one, if it had to be repurposed to another facility, potentially yes, but that would depend on the operating system going in, whether it would be the adequate size or not. So.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? Okay, all those in favor? Motion is carried. On to the Lobbies Bridge. Moved by Councillor Adams, second by Councillor Elphick, that the Council of Municipality of Brockton hereby approves report number PW 2020-14 Lobbies Bridge Rehabilitation Project Tender prepared by Greg Ferdiney, Director of Operations, and doing so awards the tender to McLean Taylor Construction in the amount of $258,392.70 plus HST. Any questions about that? All those in favor? Carried. Riverbank Study. Moved by Deputy Mayor Gierzak, seconded by Councillor Hutchin, that the Council of Spelly Brockton hereby receives report number PW 2020-15, notice of commencement MCA for Saugeen Riverbank erosion study prepared by Greg Fertney, Director of Operations for information purposes. Any questions for Mr. Fertney? Councillor Adams.
Not a question. Again, another very well done report. Very comprehensive, gives us an idea, a snapshot, not just today, but in the future going forward. So well done, Greg, and thank you for that report.
Okay, thank you. Okay. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Taxes, moved by Councillor Lang, seconded by Councillor Leifso, that the Council of Spelly Brockton hereby receives report number FIN 2020-19 tax arrears prepared by Trish Sartori, CFO, for information purposes. Any questions about those? Deputy Mayor Gierzak.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you to Trish, perhaps. As I read that, 4% is certainly lower than the provincial guidelines, but still sounds like it could be, it's a substantial amount of money. And I wonder if that reflects 1 in 25 homeowners, property owners, or is it less than that when it's a accumulated amount?
Through you, Mayor Peabody. I'm not sure how many households that would amount to, but I can find that out and get back to you.
Okay.
And certainly if you could get back to us as well with some understanding of how that relates to other communities our size in terms of numbers of households that may have that difficulty. And it may be important to know that as we move forward through this COVID situation. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Any further questions on the taxes? All those in favor? Carried. Tile drain loan. Moved by Councillor Adams, seconded by Councillor Elphick, that the Council of Spelly Brockton hereby approves report number CLK 2020-18 tile drain loan application, Cochesta 7 Brant, prepared by Fiona Hamilton, Clerk, and Sarah Johnson, Junior Deputy Clerk, and doing so accepts the tile drain loan application and further approves the bylaw coming forward to accept the application and issue debentures for the loan. Okay, questions? Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Rescheduling council meetings. Moved by Deputy Mayor Gierzak, seconded by Councillor Hutchin, that the Council of Spelly Brockton hereby approve report number CLK 2020-16 June 2020 council meeting rescheduling prepared by Fiona Hamlin, Clerk, and Sonia Watson, Chief Administrative Officer, and doing so approve that the June 2020 council meeting dates be rescheduled to June 9th, 2020 and June 23rd, 2020. All those in favor? Okay, motion is carried. Walker West subdivision agreement, moved by Councillor Lang, seconded by Councillor Leifso, that the Council of Spelly Brockton hereby receives report number CAO 2027 Walker West Estates Inc. subdivision agreement prepared by Sonia Watson, COA, for information purposes. Further approves a bylaw coming forward to authorize signing the subdivision agreement with Walker Estates. Councillor Lang.
I have nothing to comment just yet on this item, but Tim, Councillor Elphick had a comment on the last one, sorry, before it was put forward on the last item.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry, I had just had a comment about the, I raised my hand, Mr. Mayor there, but it's okay. I just, if we can just jump back to that report at some point, I'm not sure we want to do so now or do so before we consider the report that's now on the table.
All right, well, let's talk about this report first. I'll hold that one open. Okay, Walker West. Any questions? Councillor Adams.
More for comments tonight than questions. I'm just really glad that we were able to put an agreement together and get it, continue the good progress that the developer is doing and working with us. So good work by everyone, including the developer, to make this come together and make it happen for all of us in Brockton.
Yes. Thank you for those words. Okay. Any further questions about Walker West? Okay, very good. Yes, Councillor Adams, I agree. Thank you very much to the staff and all parties for bringing this to a very, well, it was 2 weeks ago. So bringing this part of the agreement to the table for a vote. So that's great work. All those in favor? Opposed? You had a question about the meeting dates, Councillor Elphick?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor. I just had a question if, given that we're using the Zoom platform, if there was an actual necessity to change the date. These dates are set early on in the year. They're communicated to the public and to other stakeholders. And, I'm just looking at tonight's agenda and the time of the day, it seems that we moved fairly quickly. And if there was any urgent business, that we'd have the capacity to certainly have a meeting electronically and maintain the existing dates as opposed to have them adjusted.
Okay. Ms. Hamilton, any comments?
It's certainly, yes, we do advertise the dates in advance. It's no problem really to get meetings put together, and we do provide notice, and we do send out news items and put it on social media, etc. I think the proposal behind amending these dates was to avoid having a large gap in between, and also to maybe allow us to bring some matters to council in a timely way based on when we expect the province to be releasing certain information. So we are sort of thinking that the proposed dates might put us in a better position to not have waited too long, but not have to make a decision too early. However, we can certainly keep the dates as is. And if we do propose to, if the amended dates do move forward, we'll absolutely be sure that we communicate that change to the public as soon as possible.
Okay, Ms. Watson.
Yeah, through you, Mayor Peabody, I would just echo the decisions we're trying to make around the day camp are going to be timely, and I'd rather, if we could move it up to make it, depending the decision on that, so parents have some knowledge as early as possible. And we're hoping by that time we'll have further guidelines from the health unit and the province on the parameters around operating a summer camp.
I just raise it from a customer service standpoint that we communicate out to all those in Brockton when our meeting dates are, and changing it for 1 week just doesn't seem to have a lot of benefit from my perspective. When we have the capacity to call a meeting to add an additional day if we need to conduct business of council. So those are my comments on it.
All right, Councillor Lyso.
From my point of view, it actually makes sense to change back because it's actually our it's our regular meeting schedule, and we get used to the second and fourth Tuesday. So this is just reverting back to it since the other meetings were canceled.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Okay, moving along to accounts. We have accounts in the order moved by Councillor Adams, seconded by Councillor Elphick, that the Council of Brockton approve payment of the accounts in the amount of $271,599.59. Okay, any questions about the accounts this week? Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, check my agenda here where we're at. Information items. Okay, moved by Deputy Mayor Gierzak, seconded by Councillor Hutchin, that the Council, the Municipality of Brockton hereby receives all items provided in Section 11 information. All those in favor? Okay, carried. Are there any comments on the information items? Okay, moving along to bylaws. Moved by Councillor Lang, seconded by Councillor Lyso, that the Council of the Municipality of Brockton authorizes the following bylaws be read, enacted, signed, sealed, and numbered as followed. Bylaw 2020-64 Walker West Estates Subdivision Agreement Bylaw. Bylaw 2020-65 Carl Fruch Pile Drain Loan Bylaw. Are there any questions? All those in favor of the two bylaws? Okay, carried. Committee minutes. moved by Councillor Adams, seconded by Councillor Elphick, that the Council of Municipality of Brockton receive the minutes of the following committees and/or boards as presented. Hanover Walker and Waste Management Committee minutes, April 15th, 2020. All those in favor? Okay. Wait. Now we're on to new business brought forward. And I believe Councillor Lang had contacted me earlier about an item he wanted to bring forward about river access. I don't know if you still want to do that, Councillor Lang, and then we'll let others go ahead with other business brought forward.
Yeah, I do, if you don't mind. Through Mayor Peabody, I reached out to staff yesterday morning just in regards to our river access points. The county has, actually, I think it's just one. They have barricade. I think it's concession 8. In our municipality, there's over, well, the Saugeen River is over 100 kilometers, but within our municipality is about over 50 of that is in our municipality. So I've received a lot of phone calls and emails just on what is happening. Is it closed? Isn't it closed? Can we go? Can we not go? And there's been lots of people going down, even though the barricades are put up. It just, my concern is where people are going in from a safety standpoint, or the land too, like where, if they're going on somebody else's property. So not to get too far into it, the motion that I asked to bring forward was to ask the county to remove what barricades they have up that are in the municipality of Brockton, so that individuals that choose to go down to the river aren't entering the river on private property, or aren't going in a location that's unsafe, both going into the river and coming out of the river. So I just asked that, and hopefully council would agree with that. There's 5 access points in the municipality of Brockton, one in which I know for sure is barricaded, but there are other areas that people can enter the river. With golf courses being open and people being able to do that, and now ride a golf cart together, I don't see that in a canoe or a kayak. So I just wanted to bring that forward.
Okay. The background to that, we did bring this up in the emergency measures meeting for our municipality. The county did close their trails and their river access way back, I think it was March 25th. The specific concern was properties like the Brant Tract and the Lindsay Tract. Their emergency measures group is meeting on Friday, and the recommendation there is to lift that, but the notification would not go out till Monday. And it's coupled with the fact that unless we had a bylaw specific to Brockton, the OPP will not enforce those barricades. So it is creating some confusion with our residents who would like to enjoy the river and get outside and take advantage of that. The Lobbies Park canoe launch is open. The river launch on the 8th concession is a bridge that we own. So it is something that was imposed by the county. So Council Lang has a motion asking that the municipality direct staff to write the CAO of the county to request the County of Bruce open access points this weekend versus say Monday. And he has suggested that safety issue as well as public enjoyment. So Councillor Lang, would you like me to read the whole motion and council can consider that? Or I guess I'd need a seconder.
Mr. Mayor, sure, yeah.
To make a motion to direct the county that way. So I see Councillor Elphick, Councillor Lang, moved by Councillor Lang, so I'll read the motion. Whereas the County of Bruce has established and maintained a series of well-known access points for the general public to use the Saugeen River for recreational activities. And whereas the County of Bruce closed these access points at the beginning of May in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. And whereas the closure of these access points has resulted in some recreational users using more dangerous access points or trespassing on adjacent properties to access the Saugeen River. And whereas the province of Ontario has started to ease restrictions to allow recreational activities that can allow for appropriate physical distancing, be it resolved that the Council of Municipality of Brockton direct staff to write to the CAO County and formally requests that the County of Bruce reopen all access points to the Saugeen River that are maintained or owned by the County of Bruce no later than Friday, May 29th, 2020. Okay, so are there any questions about that? So Councillor Lang has spoken to his motion. Councillor Adams.
Yeah, just to clarify, to validate what I heard, it sounds like they were going to be approved to open on Friday, but because of the weekend, they won't be, all of the provisions won't be in place to cut tape and all the rest of it. So I'm okay with that if that's the case. I really have concern, totally understand why people want to get out in the river, but from a continuity and a consistency standpoint, we've been following the direction of the health people. So I just want to make sure that that still is in play. And I think it is if in fact it's going to be passed on Friday and all we're doing is maybe leapfrogging and getting that weekend that people can use it, but it's not going to change the result point. So I guess I just want to make sure that that's the case and that we are consistent in terms of the safety of health and infections.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't recall in all the meetings that Dr. Era recommended the trail closure. It was the county that did that prior to a lot of the other closures of recreational amenities, specifically the province. Ms. Watson?
I would just, through you, Mayor Peabody, I would also comment, I think part of it is due to their maintenance activities with the trails. They have, the ATV club, they're going out on ATVs to make sure the trails are safe before they're opening. The river access points need to be inspected as well prior to opening, according to the county. And, it is our understanding that they're meeting later this week for the MECG to evaluate it and make a decision on opening. So.
Yep. And so there's different variables. The access point on the 8th is a bridge that we own, so it does raise some jurisdictional issues about county imposing some regulations on the municipality. But on the other hand, it is somewhat of a moot point because the our access point is open and there is no enforcement part to the closure of the river trails. We would have had to have a bylaw in place for all of May to enforce that blockade of the river access points, which we did not, and we didn't really know about that either. That was something that evolved over the closure of the beaches on the coast, that even if there is an order, the municipality, like South Bruce Peninsula, needs a bylaw and then bylaw enforcement officers, which they've hired to issue tickets. So that was quite the controversy on the coast about orders need to be supported by bylaws. And some municipalities didn't pass bylaws, so caused a little bit of consternation on the coast. Luckily, we didn't have to deal with that. We've just got a few river access points. So, okay, so you got your motion, Councillor Lang. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, opposed, motion is carried. Okay, so that was our first item of new business brought forward. Who else would like to bring some business brought forward this evening? Okay, Councillor Adams.
Yeah, just quickly, with the COVID times, give us extra time to drive around and see our Brockton, our beautiful Brockton, and certainly this time of the year it's gorgeous. Out the other day, and I hadn't been on Road 5 at Lake Roslyn in a while. And if you recall, those of us on council last term, we paved all the roads in Lake Roslyn and Mara Lakes, with the exception of Road 5. And Road 5 was supposed to happen the following year. In planning, obviously budget dollars dictate, I guess. But anyways, it was to be done, I think 2 or 3 years ago. Then it wasn't done 2 years ago. Then it wasn't done last year. And it's not in this year. It's now getting pretty rough. I was surprised how it's deteriorated. There's areas that are quite frankly broken up pavement and it's dirt. And I know that if I lived on that road, I'm surprised we haven't actually heard, because it was much worse than I thought it would be. So I think we need to, we're not gonna, obviously, there's no money in the budget to repave it this year. But I think we need to do something to dress it up. It is in pretty rough shape. And so I think we need to do something there. I think Greg's probably on the line. There's also actually a bit of drainage pipe on there, but I think Greg and I have talked about that, and it'll probably be removed. It's kind of not really even in place any longer, but I think we need to do something on Road 5, and I would recommend that we try to improve that road for the residents of Lake Roslyn.
All right, we'll have Mr. Furtney go do an assessment. Thank you. Further question, further business brought forward? No. Okay. Hearing none, I just like to comment on the municipality moving forward. We did have the town hall for a small business last week, and we did receive a number of responses of where people's concerns were. And at the meeting, I did express to the ministers my concern about businesses that might be in phase 3 and how they're being impacted, and how it is quite, it's just a really anxious time for these businesses, just waiting and waiting to see if they can reopen. And I know Ms. Perot has communicated to the business the different loan programs. There's one from the county, another one from the feds. Both are being administered by Saugeen Economic Development. But it's something that we as a council municipality really need to be aware of, that there are a number of businesses that are just hanging on, and they need our support. And I'm happy that the staff are trying, but at the same time, it's a very tough time for the businesses that didn't get included in the phase 1, and it's something we need to be aware of going forward as a municipality. Deputy Mayor Gierzak.
Thank you, Your Worship. And just to follow up with that, I did send a message off to our community development coordinator asking whether or not something along those lines of the town hall meeting could be done for the agriculture community. Maybe later in the summer when things slow down a little bit, but I think we need to have a pretty good understanding of how this change in the world might be affecting their businesses as well. So I know she's going to follow up with you and Sonia.
Yeah.
So I look forward to that later in the year.
Yeah, very good idea, Deputy Mayor. Okay. Are there any further businesses brought forward? No. Okay. Hearing none, we'll go to the confirmation of proceedings. Moved by Deputy Mayor Gierzak, seconded by Councillor Hutchins, that the Council municipality of Brockton authorize that the following bylaw be read and acted, signed, sealed, numbered as followed. Bylaw 2020-66, May 26, 2020, confirmatory bylaw. All those in favor? Carried. Motion to adjourn, moved by Councillor Lang, seconded by Councillor Lightfoot, that the Council municipality of Brockton does now adjourn at 7:38 p.m. to meet again on, what was the date? June 9th, was it? 2020. All those in favor? Okay, thank you very much. And there's no in camera tonight. So, thank you to the staff. Thank you to council. So,
Thank you. Have a great evening. Take care.
Good night.
Bye
Good
now.
night.
Night, everybody.
Good night.